The first Despicable Me movie starts in Egypt, with several pyramids and a bus arriving with a tour group. Among them is a little boy who doesn't even respect his own mother and is wearing a Sid t-shirt from Toy Story. He falls onto a pyramid and everyone thinks he's going to die, but it turns out to be a fake, inflatable pyramid that just bounces the little Sid away. Then we realize someone stole the pyramid. Who could it be? Next, we see the protagonist, Gru, entering a diner. He doesn't feel like waiting in line, so he freezes everyone to cut to the front. Afterward, he arrives at his house, wanting to relax, but 3 orphan girls come knocking on his door, selling cookies. He's so grumpy that he doesn't even want to open the door to look at the girls' faces. They get tired and leave. Then a bizarre creature that he thinks is a dog attacks him, but he's saved when an 80-year-old guy named Dr. Nefário calls him. Seriously, Despicable Me is one of my favorite animations and the best from Illumination. So, get ready for another Cine lovers. Gru finds out about the pyramid theft and gets furious. If you, like me, thought that Gru was the one who stole the pyramid, you were very wrong. Soon after, we meet some small yellow guys, the minions, who do everything Gru asks. He gathers them all for a speech and, at the end, reveals his next plan. He wants to steal the moon. Just a small thing. To make this happen, he needs to build a rocket, but since he's broke, he goes to ask for a loan at the bank. Gru arrives at the Bank of Evil to try to get some money to build his rocket, and in the waiting room is Vector, who tries to start a conversation with Gru, but nothing happens. Gru enters the boss's office, explains his plan, but doesn't get a cent. Gru gets angry and upset because, in addition to not getting the money, he discovers that Vector was the guy who stole the pyramid, and then he freezes the guy's head. Then Gru, along with the minions, steals a shrink ray that would make the moon very small, making it easier to steal. But shortly after, Vector steals the shrink ray from Gru. Back to Gru, who tries to break into Vector's house to steal the ray at any cost, but the house's security is very strong. While Vector activates all his alarms, he eats some chips, drinks soda, and even plays Nintendo Wii. After getting beaten up a lot, Gru sees those orphanage girls entering Vector's house, and then he has a brilliant idea. He would adopt them so they could steal the ray. Poor girls. Well, Gru pretends to be a dentist and goes to the orphanage to talk to the person in charge, and he manages to adopt the girls. Gru asks Dr. Nefário to build several cookie robots, and he builds many boogie robots that dance very well, by the way. But better than that is your like on this video, so YouTube understands that the content is good and sends this video to more people. Thanks! Gru and the girls are still not getting along very well, but they are tolerating each other. Then he pretends to be nice to the girls and says he's going to take them to sell cookies. And guess what? The first customer is Vector. The evil Gru's plan starts to work. Several robot cookies appear and steal the shrink ray. But before they can leave Vector's house, Gru, 2 minions, and the ray get trapped inside the house, and they do everything to get out of there. They manage to escape, and Gru ends up being forced to go to the amusement park. But he had another idea. Gru wanted to leave the girls at the park and go away. But everything changed. He started to have fun with them. Arriving home, Dr. Nefário didn't like the idea of seeing Gru having fun. Gru calls the bank boss and does a demonstration with the shrink ray and explains his plan again, but the investment is denied. Time passes, and we discover that the bank boss is actually Vector's father and tells him that the shrink ray is with Gru. Gru remains a grumpy guy and tries not to be nice to the girls. Nefário tries to convince Gru to return the girls because they were distracting him. The orphanage owner arrives and takes the girls back, and we discover that it was Nefário himself who called the woman. Everyone is upset and sad. The big day arrives, and Gru finally goes to the moon with the rocket they built. But Vector shows up to try to stop the plan and is quickly thrown out of the rocket. Gru finally manages to steal the moon but misses the girls, so he goes to their ballet recital, but it had already ended, and he also discovers that Vector kidnapped the girls. But okay, Vector stole the moon from Gru, and we find out that everything shrunk by the shrink ray eventually grows back, and the moon was slowly returning to its original size. Then there are some fights here and there, but everything is resolved, and Vector is sent into space. Gru, who was a villain, ended up becoming a hero and started being affectionate with the girls, even writing his own book and giving it to them. He becomes so sweet that he kisses everyone. And the movie ends with everyone dancing to You Should Be Dancing by the Bee Gees. In the second movie, which I think is the best of the quadrilogy, Gru is a completely good guy and no longer wants the life of a villain. He becomes the father of the century, even dressing as a fairy to make Agnes happy. Well, a woman named Lucy arrives and kidnaps Gru Gru, but two minions see the crime scene and go after them. But then they are also captured by her. Well, her car turns into an amazing submarine, and she takes them to the anti-villain league, where a guy named Silas tells Gru about a transmutation serum that turns cute creatures into angry and destructive ones. They want Gru to try to find out who is doing this inside the mall since they suspect it's one of the merchants there. Gru thinks it's all nonsense, says he's changed his life, and that he's now a family man, and leaves Silas's office. But one thing that is not nonsense is your subscription to this channel. We're approaching 2,000 subscribers, and you are part of this story. This channel is for those who love cinema, movies, and animations. Now Gru is also a jealous father, and at the same time, the girls want to find him a girlfriend because they also want to have a mother. The guy has changed so much that now he produces jellies. Nefário gets tired of the good life and leaves, saying he found a job with another villain and betrayed Gru. Gru accepts Lucy and Silas's proposal and tries to find out who is making the serum, while several minions are being kidnapped. Gru and Lucy pretend to be selling cupcakes, and then a very eccentric guy, Eduardo, arrives. He loves to show off his chest and claims to own a Mexican restaurant in the mall. Well, this guy becomes the #1 suspect because Gru suspects that Eduardo is El Macho, a villain who is believed to have died in a volcano. Lucy then has the brilliant idea of breaking into the Mexican restaurant. Upon arriving at the restaurant, Gru and Lucy encounter an evil and ninja-like chicken. They destroy a good part of the restaurant, eat in the kitchen, and Eduardo arrives, very upset. But the minions arrive, destroy the mall, save Gru and Lucy, and everyone escapes. The next day, they return to the mall, and the girls meet Lucy. They start dropping hints that Gru and Lucy should be together, and the two begin to like each other. Gru discovers that Margô is dating a boy, and that he is the son of the supposed El Macho. In this same scene, the evil chicken tries to bite Gru, and Eduardo starts to get suspicious of Gru. Okay, so far so good, but where are the kidnapped minions? They are chilling on the beach, eating lots of ice cream and having fun. Speaking of them, the minions have served many bosses, and I'm sure you don't know all of them. So as soon as this video ends, click the card and watch that video. Gru starts falling for Lucy and is very happy, but his happiness ends when Silas arrives and arrests another merchant from the mall, thinking he was the one with the serum. To make matters worse, Lucy was going to be transferred to Australia. This makes Gru very sad. Soon after, some crazy things happen. The purple serum is injected into the minions, turning them into purple and destructive creatures. Gru, along with the girls, returns to the Mexican restaurant, and Gru continues to be suspicious of El Macho and investigates until he discovers the truth. Not only is Eduardo actually El Macho, but Dr. Nefário is also working for him, and they were the ones kidnapping the minions and injecting them with the serum. But everything's fine. El Macho wanted Gru to work with him, but you know, Gru is an honest dad now. Well, when it seemed like everything was going well, El Macho kidnaps Lucy, thanks to the evil chicken. But luckily, Dr. Nefário saw the kidnapping and called Gru. Gru invades El Macho's fortress because, besides saving Lucy, he has to save about 500 minions who are all possessed by the serum. The antidote arrives, and the purple ones go back to being normal minions. Very stressed, El Macho takes the serum and turns into a huge and terrifying creature, but just a shock takes him down. Gru and Lucy are fine and get married, with a beautiful tribute from the minions. They all become a happy family, and the movie ends with everyone dancing to YMCA. That's how it should be. Despicable Me 3 starts with an old commercial of a series starring Balthazar Bratt. The success of little Balthazar was so great that the world adored him, and everyone had a doll of him. But Bratt grew up, and the series was cancelled. He ended up becoming a real villain. The guy chewed gum that inflated and trapped people inside. Kid Bratt is a bad boy. Well, he was attacking everyone on the ship, just with his gum and his dance, all to get a giant diamond. Then Gru arrives, and a dance fight begins, until Gru manages to get the diamond. Well, Silas resigns from the anti-villain league, and the new boss fires Gru and Lucy. Okay, besides losing his job, Gru was going through the Minions Revolution. The yellow guys wanted to go back to being villains, but Gru is a good guy, money, so most of them resign and leave. Then a guy who specializes in precious jewels arrives to see how the diamond is, but everyone was caught by surprise because that guy was actually our bad boy. And then he steals the diamond again. Well, Lucy starts taking the first steps to be the mother the girls never had, and our friend Gru is quite upset. He talks to Lucy, tells her he's out of money and feels like a failure. She says several positive things to make him feel better, and right after that, he finds out that little Balthazar Bratt stole the diamond again. And guess what? Sweet Agnes is selling her toys to get some money for our Gru. As if all these confusions weren't enough, an old man arrives at Gru's house and tells him he has a twin brother and that their father had just died. Poor Gru didn't even know he had a father, let alone a twin brother. Gru decides to travel with his entire family to meet his brother, who is actually him with hair. They really are twins. The brother's name is Drew. He's a billionaire and loves pigs. There are pigs or pig paintings everywhere. While the pigs were running wild in Drew's yard, our friend Bratt was angry with Hollywood for canceling his series, and his plan is to destroy the whole city. Then we find out that the pigs are actually a cover, and there's a secret lab, and the brother is also an evil genius. The brothers get along very well, but Drew wanted to join Gru in villainy, but Gru says once again that he's a good guy now. Comment #Minion if you like the Despicable Me franchise. Well, those minions who had quit invaded a Hollywood studio and entered a singing program. They did really well in the song, but they were arrested for invading the studio, and those guys wreaked havoc in jail. Gru decides to call his brother to join him in getting the diamond from Bratt, but didn't tell his little brother that in the end, the diamond would go to its rightful place and wouldn't stay with them. Parallel to this, the imprisoned minions build a plane inside the prison because they miss Gru. The brothers enter Bratt's room, but still can't get the diamond. They try again, and when they are almost succeeding, they are spotted by Bratt. So Gru and Drew manage to trap Bratt with gum on the wall, steal the diamond, and several Bratt dolls attack Gru. Then Lucy arrives, saves the two, and Drew gets sad because he discovers that he won't keep the diamond. Lucy, along with the girls, is heading to Hollywood, but when she takes off her mask, guess what? It was Bratt again. The brothers, along with the real Lucy, meet the minions. Suddenly, a giant Balthazar Bratt appears and starts destroying the city. He leaves the girls in a building, and Lucy does everything to save them. Meanwhile, one of the most sensational action scenes in animation begins. Gru falls and lies on the ground for a long time. When the destructive fire is almost reaching him, Drew gets inside the giant robot and pulls all the wires, destroying the giant robot and saving Gru. And another dance fight begins. Gru wins, sending the bad boy far away. Everything turns out well, and then Drew goes off to commit some villainy along with the minions. Now it's your turn to click on these videos and get into the Despicable Me 4 vibe, which is already in theaters. Thank you so much for making it this far, and we'll see you in the next Cine Lovers.